County. Well, I wanted to see if my friend Daniel Ware, who's an attorney here in McGee, would talk to me a little bit, which he agreed to, about some questions some of us have. And we thank you very much, because you know what? When do we call an attorney? That's what we want to know.
When you need one.
As a parent, what is my right to go on campus if I feel my child is threatened?
I think the best way to do, there's policies, there should be policies on that, but they should be able to just call up and say, I want to visit the school and have a right. You know, there's obviously freedom of information. Parent can't come in and just bounce into an office, but they have a right to come in and see their child or teacher or whatnot. If they're not getting that, obviously there needs to be a phone call made to the superintendent's office to take care of this matter. As to individual policies when they can and can't, that should be directed by the school. Honestly, I don't know what Simpson County said,
Right.
just to be bluntly, because it could vary, but that needs to be addressed, something in the system. But either a phone call or meeting set up, that should have, because you have obviously a right to go on there. We're talking about public tax dollars on a public building.
Mm-hmm. Well, and our school has been, straightforward with what their policies are. Can a child be charged with a criminal charge for assaulting another student on campus, or do you just go with what the school punishment is?
They can be charged. There is a Mississippi Youth Court Act. I've seen it both ways. If a child is underage, they can go through youth court, and you have a lot of the same criminal trial, same thing that would be an adult criminal crime can be brought in youth court, and you get a petition that way. It can be done either way. I know there for a while, early on, when Judge Buffington was on the bench, he was handling everything in youth court for the school discipline. They can do that. Now, that's a lot of resources for youth court. It can be done either way, and there's no prohibition that says you can't handle it both ways. Now, there are some crimes, such as things that carry life, murder, felony, things of that nature, that a child can be charged as an adult. So that can be done anyway.
So that is a possibility. So really, I was wondering if the school or the law trumps that. So it's basically the law.
They can do if they want to. Here's the issue I see with it. I know in Rankin County they seem to do that a lot, but here's the problem. Something occurs at school. Kids get in a fight. They do something. Well, at that point, then it has to be sent over to a youth court I forget what they call it now, the intake officer or something, and they have to get it ready. Then a petition has to get filed. Then they got to go see the judge. So by that time, if you and I were students, we were mad at each other. It's now a month away, 2 months after, the issue got resolved, and it would have been better handled if it was internally in the school. And that's as a parent and as a attorney that's done all this, I think it's a lot of times just better internally if it's handled in the school that way, because it can be taken care quickly. Versus if you go the other route, you can, but it could be a month, 2, 3, 4, or a while. Because I've seen sometimes they'll file these petitions and they not get anything done for 6 months. So that's not helping anybody.
Well, I can see that happening for sure. What does the law say about an adult interfering in a fight with minors? Not on school, anywhere. And that's kind of a general question though. But if you're out and something happens and you're at the Christmas parade and you get in a fight, they're minors. As an adult,
I know of no prohibition that says an adult can't, and this can be a very fact-oriented question. What was the adult doing? Was he or she breaking a fight up? Were they assisting somebody else in a fight? In other words, little Johnny hit my little girl Susie, and now I'm going to hit Johnny back. They're, like everybody, they could be charged with some kind of simple assault on a minor. They could be done nothing. It just really is a factual question, and honestly, determined by the police or whoever the authority would be at that time.
Interesting. Okay, going back to videos. If students share videos from the campus and all, they can be charged with cyberbullying. But I've been told that if adults share those videos, that they too open themselves to criminal charges. Is that true?
Let me say this, honest. if I decide that you hit me one day, all I gotta do is go up to the city of McGee or county and make a charge and a judge can sign a warrant if they have enough believable evidence. So I use that example to say this. There's a video I get from somebody I share. You can always make charges. Can they be charged or carried out or convicted? The term nobody likes to hear is maybe not, but that's a good lawyer way of saying it. If you know this video, you as an adult know this comes from the school and you're using it in a bad way, yes, I think there could be charges. But it's, again, very fact driven. Of course, there's always this argument about where did you get it from? Did you get it? Is it out in the air? Is it go to YouTube? Did somebody put it on YouTube? Is that free? That's some of the many questions we have out there. So to answer your question, could somebody be charged? Again, you can be charged. I used to have, there's an old law enforcement officer, it doesn't matter, up here, we can indict a ham sandwich. And he would probably it can be done that way. Now, can those charges be stuck? Maybe, maybe not, depending on the fact scenario. So
there you go. To me, if something happens in the public, it's public. So if a video is made of something that happens at a parade, I'm going to say, I don't know why I'm on parade today, a parade,
but that can happen very easily.
You know, or something like that. Is it true that you can film if it's public? And what is the definition of public? I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Usually you can film publicly. You know, there is a question, and I'll be honest with you, I've never dealt with one of these cases. Officer pulls me over for whatever. I put on my cell phone. Officer walks up and said, cut it off. I know there's some cases out there that says, some say yes, some say no on it. I just don't know what the specifics are here. I'll be honest with you, Mississippi. But yes, there's nothing that really stops videos. You know, obviously, what I always tell people now, when we go out to the world, there's a car accident. What do most personal injury lawyers tell you? Pull out your phone, take some pictures, get whatever. That's just going to happen in today's world. So again, very fact specific. What did you do? Was somebody ordered you? Did that person have the ability to tell you all? If you have somebody said, just cut this video off, who were they? Who told you that? Was it an officer? Was it, did somebody's child just get killed or hurt? And you're videotaping and mama screaming and yelling. Again, you're asking for specific answers. They are not. It's going to be very fact driven on what happens and what occurred. That, if that's the best way I can answer it.
Yes, and I guess, like you say, I'm sure that school would not be considered public. I mean, you know, on the grounds, I wouldn't think. Now, I don't know if a ball game comes out from under that, but I would think you can't go. I can't go up there and film for McGee News unless someone has given me permission. I can't even stand in the street because that's basically considered, I would consider it a school ground.
Well, if you're in the public streets, I don't think that'd be school drive. But if you're on the public filming, I think there should be rules and regulations saying you can or can't do it. Or let's say we got a child's program in an auditorium. Everybody shows up. Oh, my kid's playing whatever, and they're filming.
Right.
Does that happen? All the time. So if they catch something they're not supposed to, have they done anything wrong? Probably not, because everybody knew that was.
You know, isn't it strange? It's really no cut answers. There's really no definite answers on any of it.
And what I expected to hear from you, because I know there's been some issues about violence at our school, and I actually took some time to look at some case law on this, because recently the school system had a case where they sued. What is the real answer? This is the most lawyerly answer you'll ever heard, but it's just that what you saw, was it foreseeable to have, could have been prevented? So our court systems went into this and say, what is it really, what happened, is it foreseeable to occur? So, in other words, two kids are in the school and one just beats the mess out of the other one, okay? Have you ever had a history with either one of these two kids? Has this been an area of fighting? Has this occurred? Is it foreseeable? If it's foreseeable, the injury, and they had a known atmosphere for that, school has an obligation to do something about it. If they didn't know, all this is a shocking surprise, there's really no obligation, because it's something, it's just, what is a reasonably, the wording of the court was, what does a reasonably prudent person do to prevent a foreseeable injury? So, what is that? What's foreseeable? Is it foreseeable kids could get fired at school? Yes, every day. That's a foreseeable. Somebody gets really hurt, is that really foreseeable? Maybe, maybe not. Is it foreseeable? Another one we got here, I thought it was interesting. We've got extreme heat. We got football games going.
Mm-hmm.
Is it foreseeable these kids playing football get overheated or have problems?
Mm-hmm.
Is it foreseeable? Absolutely it is with this extreme heat. Does that make schools liable for playing kids when they knew they shouldn't have? You know, these are just all interesting questions now. I'm not saying here are the answers, but are all these things foreseeable?
So it's not like in a book you can go look this up and this is, you've got so much factors feeding into
The law is kind of like an art as opposed to a science. If you know that 2 + 2 will always equal 4, you can hang it up. It's never going to get there. Honestly, it just depends on the facts and depends on the world and what occurs. You know, this is not really so funny, but I just remember one of the interesting opinions I ever read out of one of the Trump appointees was Judge Gore, guy from 10th Circuit. He's supposed to be very conservative, very textual, very by the law. That was one of the things. And when they had the sexual orientation, was that deemed a sexual discrimination? I just never get his wording with the court. He basically said, you know, as I sit here and write today, you know, there was a split at the time that some people deemed sexual orientation discrimination, mm-hmm. Others said it wasn't. But his answer I found very interesting. He said, when they wrote the 1964 Civil Rights, they never thought about sexual orientation. They never heard about sexual orientation. Wasn't something they talked about. And they never considered it being the law. But today we're going to call it the law. I found that interesting because you're taking a scenario that these people originally wrote about, mm-hmm. never thought about, but today we're calling it the law. So you're asking me all these questions, and the honest answer is, no. Was the law thought about when anybody wrote this, when anybody did anything with it? No. But you know what? Today we're going to think about the law. Like a lot of us talk about, well, is it an infringement of our rights on 4th Amendment? Our forefathers in 1776 didn't think about social media, didn't think about email.
That's the truth.
They didn't think about things that we live in today in this country, and it's always changing. So can the answers change? Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it because I'm going to tell you I didn't give Daniel much warning on anything what we were going to talk about. But again,